Welcome to One Angry Black Republican Podcast, episode 10 of season 2. And today's topic is this is going to be a touchy topic for several reasons. Okay, number one, we're dealing with Vice President Kamala Harris. And I want to say from the outstart as a disclaimer, I have nothing against, Sarah Palin as a woman, as a black woman. We come from a culture, black culture in America where we came from, a mindset where, everything that went public amongst us, we had to be, stellar. There was a black excellence that, dominated the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, where, you can get an idea of that, excellence in the Pullman Porters. Those brothers were sharp and they represented the culture, absolutely. In an excellent, it was about black excellence. The musicians of old, the Duke Ellingtons and the Temptations, Du Bois and Booker T. Washington and Frederick Douglass. We came from, powerful stock, so to speak. And, somewhere along the cultural line, the cultural diaspora, we started to, blur those lines, so to speak. We have a culture today where everyone, is if you're black, you're excellent. There's no distinction between, the Coretta Scott King and Little Kim. There's no distinction between, Michelle Obama and Cardi B. It's like, if you're black in America, or a black woman or a black man, you have, we almost have a sense of entitlement today where we don't have to put the work in, and any criticism that comes our way, we lob bombs at critics, so, when I advertised tonight's podcast topic, I got a immediate, bomb thrown at my spirit, from a sister who said, another racist attack on, another racist Trump supporter, attacking. And I laugh at those, attacks because, these individuals like that, they have you, it's not that they have me twisted. It's that you don't care to, know what my ideology represents. You don't care to have a conversation. You don't care to, delve deeper into trying to understand, why we move the way we do individually. So, those kinds of attacks never bother me. But, I say all of that at the beginning of this particular podcast because, I'm going to be, speaking to this, situation where Kamala Harris, our vice president, is concerned. And, it's like the, sister who attacked me on Facebook saying, another racist opinion, this opinion or this, analysis doesn't spring out of anything, any cultural attack, any, gender attack. I love Kamala Harris all the same. I don't wish any harm on Kamala Harris. I will literally give my life to defend and protect Kamala Harris. One, she's one of ours. She's a sister, and she's in a position of power. And that doesn't make her, free from criticism. Especially when it comes from, within the family, so to speak. and ultimately, when you are representing us at such a level, you got to step correct, period. Barack Obama stepped correct. Okay, Barack Obama made tremendous sacrifices, and I make the assumption that Barack Obama made tremendous sacrifices. When he drank that Flint water, I had to, look at him with a side eye like, hold up. And that makes you reconsider everything. See, when you catch a person, on some fugazi, level, it makes you question everything about them. That's why, it's important, to be loyal. It's important to be honest with yourself. To thine own self be true. Because when you're not honest with yourself, you put yourself in situations where, when your true self comes out around people who have, accepted the reality of who you are, not knowing that flip side is grimy, people can't walk with you no more. You know what I'm saying? It's like, outside of, family, family is always going to be with us. I love my family to death, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. Okay, I'm married to my family. So, I'm riding with them no matter what. But anybody outside of the family, okay, you gotta walk a perfect line with me. And when I say perfect line with me, I don't mean you can't have flaws. I'm talking about major reality or major flaws like, dishonesty or disloyalty. Those are the big, things that, derail all, friendships and derail relationships. So it's really important to be yourself, true and through. So, let's get into this podcast topic. The new Sarah Palin, Kamala Harris. Okay. And Sarah Palin, let's just be clear, was unprepared, to run for vice president. Okay, she was unprepared. And this speaks to the whole idea of the striving towards excellence. I think like a Phil Murphy saying that he wasn't considering the Bill of Rights, when executing laws and things that affected us throughout the COVID era, showed that he wasn't prepared to be governor, and he's not prepared to be governor. Okay. Because, governing people is more than just management of a budget and management of a city. It's, management of our spirit, management of, our freedoms, management of our rights. And when you don't have an understanding of those, and you express that you don't have an understanding of those, and you're not thinking from that perspective, you're unprepared. Okay, that's just, a fair estimate of what we observe based off of our observations. So, when Sarah Palin was chosen by John McCain to be his running mate against Barack Obama, we felt disrespected as a public because, because we could see right through the choice. You were placating to the female vote, so you picked the first woman that, came, I guess, met the, standard qualifications in terms of age and, positioning within the party. But, and I'm going to say this, when Sarah Palin, see, this one anecdote, this one example just totally disqualifies, Sarah Palin. When asked, Sarah, Miss Palin, governor, now this is the governor of Alaska, okay, former governor of Alaska. Miss Palin, can you speak on, foreign, can you speak on foreign policy, with could you speak on foreign policy with Russia? I can see Russia from my house. I can see Russia from my house. Okay, Miss Palin, can you speak to Russian foreign policy? OMG. And that speaks to the level of mediocrity plaguing politics. You know, we have a political environment where as long as you're popular among the people for whatever reason, soccer moms, love a gun-toting moose shooting, mother. Once you put mother in front of the person, it's like there's no more criticism. We're supposed to just chew on this reality and say nothing to it, because, oh my God, if he says something, he's a chauvinist. And then we have to talk about the 400 plus years of male dominated, realities. And, yes, there has been a problem in terms of, men dominating society. But, like Barack Obama said, when dealing with the legacy of slavery and the problems associated with being black in America, yes, there were injustices against us. Yes, there was. But we still have to move on no matter what. And we have to move in a fashion where we are, preserve oneself, destroy the enemy. We have got to be on point in that respect no matter what. And but at the same time, we have got to be able to discern between those who are in a culturally ready place. Is Kamala Harris in a culturally ready place, or, in order to represent our people as the vice president of the United States? No, she's not. Okay. We're talking about, and also think about it like this, and I'll speak to the reasoning. We have a crisis right now at the American border. There has been an upswing in, border crossings. There are children. The Democratic Party ironically made this a huge issue during the Trump administration about all of those children that were, kept in those cages and being taken from families, and, all of the problems associated with, that situation. And now Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States, and she's nowhere to be found. And then when asked, what do you think about the crisis at the border? She laughs and then says, I haven't been to the border. Almost like, shucking and jiving, laughing off the reality that people's lives are at stake. Okay. And you're not on the job. Now, could this be a Democratic coup d'etat going on right now? Because one of the areas of thought I went down was the friction between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That friction and that anger and that animosity didn't go anywhere. Both her and Cory Booker called this man a racist. Which I would agree, but they called him out on the national stage. Cory Booker himself said the man wasn't fit to be president. But then when it comes down to, the party taking power, it's party over, over the realities of the political environment. So you took this, man, who's been showing us signs of dementia, and you put everything behind him to take power as the president of the United States. And then he chooses, one of his rivals, playing politics. Okay. God knows, I would love to see the next, 15 presidents be black. Whether black females or black males. Okay, maybe if we had the next 10 presidents, black, maybe there'll be some, empathy created within that office, because ultimately, black people in America have suffered the most. We can sit here and argue that till the cows come home, but my feet are 10 toes down. Black people have suffered the most in this country. Black people have been standing toe to toe with white America since we got here. Okay? We have taken all of their terrorism, and we continue to take their terrorism. Okay, we eat it for breakfast. Okay, we just lost another brother, okay, to a quote unquote mistake. I make a proposal that, we should eliminate police stops altogether as far as black people are concerned. That's how dangerous and dire the situation is. You can literally lose your life, with the miscommunication with a simple miscommunication amongst a police officer. You can lose your life as a black person in this country. You can lose your life. We don't see those accidents happening with white Americans. We don't see it, and we don't see it happening. Okay, oh my God, police shoots white man over here. Police shoots white man. There are more white people in this country, but we don't see the same problems with policing. That just shows you racism is still prevalent, and we're still dealing with terrorism. Okay, just because they have a badge and an official, charter from America to gun people down when at their discretion, they're using that discretion to gun down black people. So we have an ongoing problem in this country. And, we seem to, keep putting ourselves in situations where we elect people to office who just are not prepared to manage this, crisis that has been going on. Kamala Harris laughed about the way people's, have you been to the border? No, I haven't been there yet. I'm not going there today. Like, this is the essence of mediocrity. This is the essence of mediocrity. And we keep allowing this. She hasn't given one public address in nearly a month in the midst of this crisis. And, the laugh and the brushing off and the shucking and jiving that I witnessed from Kamala Harris reminded me of that moment with Sarah Palin. Some people think that every flaw is overlooked because of, religion, race, or gender. And that's just not, that's not the America I want to invest in moving forward. I want to invest in an America that, moves from a position of equity, social equity, financial equity. And I'm not saying, let's, destroy, capitalism altogether. We may not be ready for that. We have to transition. But what I am saying is that, we have to re-examine systems that are more equitable. I'm not saying move to communism or socialism. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the American people, we need a cultural revolution first. A cultural revolution where we start putting people in positions of power that have shown the American people that they are ready for the job. That includes police officers. That includes doctors. That includes teachers. That includes politicians. You should at least have X amount of years of civics training. You should at least have gone through training programs on the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and these different realities. Until you have gotten those, you should not be allowed to run for public office. We should take all of this money out of public office or campaign financing. All of these things have got to be addressed if we're talking about salvaging America. Where is Kamala Harris? Where is Joe Biden? Who's running the government? Who's running the government? Why can't we we have the expectation that our president and vice president are going to address the issues that we, the American people, and, you know, I'm not one of those, you know, she's not my vice president or he's not my president. He's our president, President Joe Biden, and she's our vice president, Vice President Kamala Harris. They have a responsibility and they have duties to perform in government, and we have an expectation of them managing those duties. And one of those duties is to show up. You got to show up. You got to be there. You got to be, you got to be held to account. We have watched one of the most disastrous political elections that I have ever experienced, whether in reading or, you know, personally in my entire life. In my entire life. We watched the Democratic Party, you know, try to buy the black vote. Millions of dollars Bloomberg spent trying to derail, you know, President Trump. Millions of dollars. That was a billionaires' war going on. A war between billionaires. And Bloomberg was jealous. That's basically what it boils down to. He was jealous of President Trump and his billionaire buddy once, you know, that made it to the White House. Totally, forever, you know, putting him in the hall of fame, so to speak. Because no matter what, you know, America tried to impeach and tried to, you know, assault Trump twice. And yet he still is up to run for political office in 2024 with more experience and understanding now. What is the Democratic Party going to do? You know, maybe Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are trying to create the reality of, you know, power in perpetuity. Maybe that's what they're doing right now. They're creating a system in hiding, because they sure enough did this during the first impeachment trial. You know, they held, you know, closed door sessions, you know, totally showing us, you know, how the Constitution can be totally violated. That's what they showed us. And now we're in the midst of this crisis. Children being pulled from their mothers and fathers, you know, held in cages, held in, you know, detention centers along the border. We have an influx of, you know, individuals escaping, you know, from other countries, other nations, running across our borders, flooding the American economy with more, you know, resources being expended in order to maintain these individuals. It's making it less safe for the American people. Because at the end of the day, I'm an American. And, you know, we have to be ride or die America. Or we tear America down and recreate it. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. And the argument surely can be made from the perspective or the point of view of black people in this country. They're always outnumbered and always outgunned. They're always oppressed. We just lost another brother. Gunned down by an officer who said she thought it was her taser. Come on. Really? Okay. Plausible denial. That's like, you know, the end of, that's like in Training Day. That's like in Training Day when Denzel finally pulls the blinders off, you know, and, you know, his partner's sitting there and he got to make a decision right on the spot. Like, listen, dude, This is how we going to argue how this went down. We just came and murdered this elephant for his money. That's what this was about, because I made some silly mistakes and I have to cover all that up. So this is how this is going to go down. Dude, you already had drugs in your system. Like, this system operates almost in a fashion just like that. Almost just like that. You know, where, you know, situations are fabricated, things are brought up, things are executed and put into motion at the highest levels of government, while the rest of us mosey along like zombies, walking to the beat of the drum of entertainment, money, and drugs, and sex. There's the reality of so many Americans. So many Americans, they just want to secure the bag and use the bag to entertain themselves and veg out on drugs and sex. And we're good with that. And as long as we good with that, the people who are in positions of power are going to stay in positions of power no matter how they got there, whether they earned being there or not. Whether they earned being there or not, or they fell into position, you know, like the, you know, Sarah Palins and the Kamala Harrises of the world. Because literally, until Kamala Harris has shown herself, hey, what are you doing? Where are you? I hear rumors that you haven't even moved into, you know, the quarters designated for the vice president yet. You haven't started business yet. What are you, spring cleaning, or you waiting for the decorations to come in? What's going on, Vice President Harris? And no, and this is not a racist rant, okay? I want to see my vice president in action. I want to see this vice president do her job. That's what I want to see. I want to see this vice president do her job. I want to see some action in terms of, especially on the cusps of how the Democratic Party tore down the last administration. Especially in light of that. So, I know that this administration just came into power. I know that. I understand that. And I also know that as we watched all of those debates and all of that money that was spent, and we watched all of that, you know, take place during the election season, and the major focus that Democrats pushed, you know, this reality of, you know, systemic racism. You know, there was so much talk about what was going to be done concretely. But yet here we go, things moving back into that place of dormancy, you know, where government is going to chug along for the next 3 years, and then the election season again, and then the hype again. We have to step up, America. We have to step up. So, One Angry Black Republican podcast where morality meets extremism. Is Vice President Harris the new Sarah Palin, the unprepared, the unready for office? Is she? I'll leave that up to the people to decide. One angry black Republican, and I'm out.